Hey everyone, this is George from George Salis's Book Hauls, and based on the title of this video, you might be wondering, what are the Infinity Stones of German literature? Well, we're about to get to that, but, let's just dive in. How about that? So, bam! The Man Without Qualities. This is volume 1. Bam! The Man Without Qualities, volume 2. Bam! The Man Without Qualities, volume 3. And you'll notice each book here is a different edition. So that kind of further highlights the Infinity Stones with the red, white, and the tan. But shout out to my wonderful, very generous friend, Nick. He had his Instagram hacked recently, so I'm not sure if I can even put that link in the description of the video, but I hung out with him and Henry recently, two local book brothers who I met through Instagram, and he came bearing gifts. So Nick got me The Man Without Qualities, so just very thoughtful gift that I'm very grateful for. So thank you again, Nick. And he actually came with another book, and I'll show you that in a minute as a bonus to this video. But actually, the third volume is what I got from local bookstore that I went to with Nick, and he encouraged me to get this. He said that this translation is the best, rather than the Knopf, and there might be another translation. I'm not sure. And a lot of people have been telling me that The Man Without Qualities is a book with qualities that I should read. It is a novel of ideas, which is not the type of novel I'm usually attracted to. Partly because, I prefer reading my ideas in the form of nonfiction. But I am certainly open to the possibility that this is as good as people say, or at least good in the sense of subjectivity. So maybe it'll speak to me, maybe not. I've actually talked about these two already, but now that I've finally completed the Infinity Stone and I can do my little snap, let's read a little excerpt from this. Not sure if I should just read the beginning or something else here. How about this? This looks like chapter 5, page 14. The man without qualities of whom we are speaking was called Ulrich. And Ulrich, it is not agreeable to keep on calling somebody whom one has only just met by his first name, but his surname is withheld out of consideration for his father, had passed the first test of his character when he was still on the borderline between childhood and adolescence. It was in a school essay on a patriotic theme. Patriotism was a very special subject in Austria. German children simply were taught to despise Austrian children's wars and to believe that French children were the descendants of enervate debauchees, running away in their thousands whenever a German Landwehrmann with a big beard so much as walked up to them. Well, I did also hear from someone who wasn't so impressed with this novel that they were tired of kind of the politics that it gets into. But I don't know. Maybe that's kind of the equivalent of Moby Dick going into cetology and whatnot, but it's something that could be considered cruft. Maybe something that is that the discerning reader may want to skim. Who knows? I haven't read it. But yeah, and I should say this is translated by, in case anyone was wondering, Eithne, if if I'm pronouncing that correctly, Wilkins and Ernst Kaiser. This particular edition dates back to, let's see here, 1953, first American edition. Nice red for you. This is the amethyst. And then, so this must be later, because you can look at this kind of cheap cover, but unless it's like the UK edition. London, I think they might all be UK actually. This is 1967. And finally, this one dates back to, it's got a sticker here, pounds, 3 pounds and what is it, 15 pence. Oh, I paid $8 for it. This is 1965, so the third volume predates this one because it came later. But yeah, altogether, the page count on this is about 1,500 pages, so it's quite the commitment as far as reading big books are concerned. And I was actually told by my friend Matt, who is one of the people who really loved this book, that the Knopf edition, whether it's an inferior translation or not, comes with extra material that was translated because Musil did not finish writing The Man Without Qualities. I guess he was working on it up until his death, and it remains unfinished, more or less. And so that edition comes with extra translations of like pieces that didn't really fit into the final work as it stands. And then I'm also told that some of the best stuff is in that, and there's even like a chest or two full of more pages of this manuscript, this posthumous manuscript. So yeah, this is kind of the magnum opus that a great German writer was wrestling with up until his death. Maybe in the afterlife he's still wrestling with it. But the bonus book I promised you, I'll have this here in the back. So my friend Nick also gave me this epic copy of The Exaggerations of Peter Prince by Steve Katz. Now, Steve Katz was an experimental writer. You could even call him postmodern. And this is a nice, beautiful, big edition of a late 60s experimental novel, which I'm very excited to read. It was on my list. Most recently, I got a copy of a Katz story collection. I think it was called Creamy and Delicious, that was reprinted from Tough Poets Press, one of my favorite presses. And if you can see up here, I don't know if that's showing in the camera, but I have a signed novel that was published by Sun and Moon Press back in the day. I think it was actually the first novel. Well, let me just bring it down here. I think this is the first novel that was published in the American literature series from Sun and Moon Press. #1, Weir and Paus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but just the title alone gave me the suspicion that this might be written in a kind of Wakian language, because this is like War and Peace, Weir and Paus, Weir and Paus. But flipping through it, I don't get that impression, really. Let me read some and see. It was hard to figure out George Godin, why he wanted to spend his time doing what he did. What did a 20-year-old guy get out of spending all his time with a bunch of kids who ranged in age from 14 to 16, just to coach them in baseball, just to organize their club? Except for some part-time coolie work he did for money. He spent all his time on the bullets. Why? Not for the girls. There was a flutter of interest among girls at school when the bullets first showed up wearing their purple and gold satin reversible jackets. And in fact, Linda Wolfe, who lived alone with her divorced mother, wore George Zagraffi's jacket for almost a whole day with his name Zoggy stitched on the big gold B over the heart on the left side, but she gave it back because once the membership of the Bullets was known, the girls realized not much status or protection or excitement would come their way if they wore a Bullet jacket. So yeah, this prose, at least from that little excerpt, is pretty pedestrian and doesn't live up to the title. But maybe it's an entertaining novel nonetheless, regardless of the prose style. I don't know, but it says, for Jeff, blow up the baseball, I don't know what that word is. It's not bad. Baseball, I don't know. You tell me if you can make that out. And then it's dated, I think that says Boulder, 4992. Steve Katz. He's no longer with us, but his work can still be rediscovered. But look at this. This is an example of, the kind of experimentation people associate with Mark Z. Danielewski, even though he's far from the first person to do something like that. This kind of stuff kind of peaked in the 60s and 70s. And maybe I'll make a video on that, some of the other titles I have. Yeah, look at that. It says, not to be taken away from the reading room. Let's see how this opens up. Oh, you got a blueprint here, just like, House of Leaves. But this is coming like 50 years later almost. Before, I should say. You may not, said the woman of Peter Prince, before divorce had peeled them apart. Consider Siamese cats a responsibility, but I have to because they're mine. The refrigerator door gave in to Peter Prince with a light magnetic tug. He reached in among the cold plastic packages and grabbed his Limburger. Cats up your ass, he responded, moistening his lips. He peeled the foil from the cheese and loosed in the draughty palace air yellow waves of locker room stench that made his woman's face flesh wrinkle. So this has a bit more energy than the Weir and Paus book. So this will probably be what I read first. Thank you again to Nick, and I actually met up with them at a cafe/bookstore, and I came away with one title, Better Than Nothing. I've heard a lot, well, here and there, not too much, about Michael Houellebecq. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Always these names. But, the cover, if you've seen any of his work, the covers are terrible. And this is no exception. But I was attracted by the title, which is a saving grace, The Possibility of an Island. Love the sound of that. And I, of course, flipped through it. And, let's see some of the blurbs. There's a blurb here from my boy Stephen Moore. He says, he brings impressive erudition and a gutsy willingness to offend to his attempt to rethink and reimagine the basis for civilization. I love being shocked and offended, so I hope it lives up to that. And then you have some other blurbs here. No one that I see of note. Oh, Julian Barnes. But anyway, is this translated? Yeah, it's translated from the French by Gavin Boyd. This is a first edition from 2006, which doesn't seem like a long time ago, but it is. That's welcome to getting old, I guess. So, welcome. The first sentence here is, welcome to eternal life, my friends. This book owes its existence. Oh, this is not even the beginning. This is an acknowledgement. Or is it? Whatever, I'm just going to read this page. My current incarnation is deteriorating. I do not think it will last much longer. I know that in my next incarnation I will be reunited with my companion, the little dog Fox. That has me intrigued, for sure. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to reading all this stuff. There's always so much to read. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know, have you read The Man of Qualities? What did you think of it? Are you looking forward to it? And what translation did you read, or are you looking forward to read? Let me know what you think of the rest of the books in this video, and tell me. Check in with me. What have you been reading recently in general? Anything good? Anything I need to know? Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.